I'm gonna be talking about neuroanatomy. Okay. I hope you are all doing well, especially with your studies if you are studying for something specific. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna talk about the internal structure of spinal cord, and yeah, this is what I want to talk this morning. So let me just start grabbing the pen and I'm gonna finish this part. So as I finish this part, I'm gonna talk about a few things of the spinal cord, and you probably already know that the spinal cord is it's a vital component of the nervous system, the central nervous system. Okay, and you also already know that the spinal cord is responsible for transmitting sensory and motor signals, and these motor and sensory signals will be traveling between the brain and the rest of the body. And when viewed in cross section, this is a cross section of the spinal cord, you will notice that we have this H-shaped structure, and this structure right here is basically composed of gray matter. Okay, basically composed of gray matter. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna maybe add a few things to distinguish this part from the rest, because the rest is mainly composed of white matter. Okay, we have this part here composed of gray matter and the rest composed of white matter. But what we have in gray matter, what is the gray matter? Well, gray matter, this part here, is, as you can see, centrally located within the spinal cord, and is composed primarily for neuronal cell bodies that we can call dendrites, and also myelinated axons. Now this structure here will be important because it is here where all the neural signals will be processed. Okay, so let me just finish in here. As you can also see here, we have two horns, okay? And the anterior horn, this one here, the anterior horn is located ventrally, okay, ventrally, and contain motor neurons. Okay, contain motor neurons. And these neurons are responsible for controlling voluntary muscle movements. Voluntary muscles movements. How? By sending signals to the skeletal muscles via peripheral nerves. Now the posterior horn, which is this part here, okay? The posterior horn, as you can presume, is located posteriorly, and it contains sensory neurons. Okay, sensory neurons. And what will happen is these neurons will process incoming sensory information from the periphery, such as touch, pain, temperature, and proprioception. So what you will also see is that connecting the anterior and the posterior horns on either side, we are going to find a narrow band of gray matter called the gray commissure. And this region contains interneurons that at some point will facilitate communication between the different parts of gray matter. Surrounding the gray matter, we have the white matter. Let me just find another color to distinguish the white from the gray. And maybe, I don't know. Let's see. This is mainly consisted of myelinated axons organized into tracts, and myelin sheets insulate. You will find myelin sheets that myelin sheets insulate these axons, and this will help with the transmission of the electro signals. So let me just remove this part here. The white matter is divided in 3 regions. We have the dorsal. Okay, we have the dorsal. We can call dorsal columns, lateral columns, and ventral columns. The dorsal will carry sensory information from the skin and the joints. The lateral columns contain ascending and descending pathways involved in motor control and reflexes. And the ventral one is involved in motor function and coordination. Okay. There are other structures such as the central canal, the lateral horn, but I will not talk about these structures now. What else? Okay, let me just talk about this central canal. So the central canal is here. Okay, I hope you can see it. Let me just... This part here is the central canal. And this is a small cavity, okay? And this, as you can see, it's located between the gray, within the gray commissure. And the central canal is basically the part of the ventricular system of the spinal cord, where you're going to find the cerebrospinal fluid. And you probably know the function of the cerebrospinal fluid, that is provides mechanical support and protection to the spinal cord. Now, we also have the lateral horn, which is not well illustrated here. But the lateral horn will be basically around this area. And it's presented only in specific segments of the spinal cord, such as thoracic, upper lumbar, and sacral regions. What we are going to find in the lateral horn we are going to find autonomic neurons. I'm going to talk about all of this in the future, okay? But these neurons will regulate involuntary functions such as heart rate, digestion, and blood pressure. And all of this through the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So here we have the white matter. And thank you for your support. Recognize. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. I used to stream in English during the mornings and in Portuguese afternoon, just to let you know. Clinically, what happens when we have an injury in this area here of the gray matter? Injuries in this area usually can result in significant functional deficits. For example, anterior horn injury, anterior horn, this part here, might lead to flaccid paralysis. And why? Because the patient might lose the motor neuron function, which comes from this area. In some conditions, this might be presented especially in poliomyelitis and or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Now, when injuries affect the posterior horn, you might presume that it will result in loss of sensation, such as numbness, tingling, because all the sensory neurons are affected in this area. Okay. Injuries on the white matter. Okay. Injuries on the white matter usually can disrupt the signal transmission between different regions of the spinal cord. Okay. Here with here, here with here. Okay. And the brain as well. Okay. And then I have this other structure here, this other part. This is through the whole length, okay, of the spinal cord, you're going to find the gray matter, the columns of gray matter. So this is the representation. This is the anterior horn. Okay, and this is the posterior one. Okay, let me just write down here. Anterior, posterior. I already mentioned a few things about these two parts of the spinal cord, so I don't think that I need to repeat. If you want to watch this video later, you can go to my YouTube channel and have a look at the video with all the lecture. So let me just write here. Posterior horn. Posterior horn. This, we should have something close to here representing the lateral horn. Then we have the anterior horn here. Anterior horn. Here is the central canal. Here is the white commissure. White commissure. And here we have the gray commissure. Yeah. Just to complete here, this one is the anterior and posterior horn. Just to differentiate both, the anterior will be with this way, and the posterior will be straight lines. Okay. So, yeah. And then we have this part here that presents, now this is the end of this part. Okay? And now I'm gonna move to this part here. That is showing the cross section of spinal cords at different levels. Let me just write with another pen. Cross section of spinal cord at different levels. Okay. Cross section of spinal cord at different levels. And then what you're going to notice during this presentation, you can maybe have an idea here, is that the amount of gray matter varies at the depending of the level. Oi, Jaque, tudo bem? Bom dia, tô dando essa aula em inglês, Jaque. Se quiser fazer uma companhia aí. Okay, so let me start with the level of the third cervical segment. Third cervical segment, which is this one. Obrigado, Jaque. Thank you, Jaque. Thank you for the taps, guys. This is the best way that you can support this educative live, where I talk about anatomy and, to be more precise, clinical anatomy. So, okay, we have here central canal, all these structures that you already learned before. And This is at the level of the third cervical segment. I'm gonna write third cervical segment. Obrigado, thank you. Obrigado a todo mundo. Third cervical segment. Okay? And here you can notice that the gray matter is small in size, and you will not see properly the lateral horns, especially because there are no lateral horns at this level. But moving to the next level, we have the sixth cervical segment. Level sixth cervical segment. Okay, here we have this the spinal cord, the cross section, and as you can see, it's different. So central canal, and the gray matter is larger here in size, and what you can see is also that the white matter is also large in size. So two things larger in size. Then we have at the sixth thoracic segment. Thoracic segment. Okay, and here the gray matter will be small, but you can see that here you are going to find the lateral horns. Central canal, spinal cord, anterior fissure. Okay, and then we have below this one here, this will be the third lumbar segment. Third lumbar segment. And now you can see a big difference here comparing with the others. Here, the gray matter will be enlarged in size. Central canal. And the white matter will be reduced in size. Okay? And then we have third lumbar segment. And then we have a level. Let me just... and then we have the level of the second sacral segment. Second sacral segment. And then at this level, The gray matter will also be large in size, and the white matter will be smaller in size. Why? Everything you're going to understand when I start talking about these structures here, the function in the near future. Okay, we don't need to rush. Okay, this is basically what I wanted to share. Later today, I'm gonna be back to talk about another topic, but it will be in Portuguese. If you understand the Portuguese, you can join me. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with all of you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Oh, 8 people in this live. Great, thank you. Oh, that's quite surprising, to be honest. Thank you for your support. Yeah, great. Oh, look, I cannot give you gifts, but I can send my heart, my kindness, and appreciate your time and your kindness. But we are going to see again tomorrow for more content about clinical anatomy. If you enjoy this thing. Okay, so take care. See you tomorrow. Bye.